Space Bucket Sunday. They put it all into a big bucket, and so they call it the Space Buckets. And here's my current Space Bucket collection in its official Space Trucks container. I got a nice stash of astronauts here. There's another nice bundle of them. I think this is a matched set. Soul owner from the 1970s. Some of their flags. These astronauts here, these are actually by Bowley. I gotta do a little thing on them, but they've got the rope and triangle pose. They're related, made in China. We'll take a look at them at some point. These are one of the driver guys. And then on the bottom of the stack here, I keep the Lunar Rover collapsed. Here's a different antenna. I'll have to look at this actually. Here, the later antenna. Yeah, it's in there. You'd stick the thing through there. This one was more complete, and it came with the Soul owner guys from the 70s. Intriguing. We all had the same Lunar Rover, the same one. This is actually a toy from Sonic drive-through, old premium, but it sort of has the same look to it. But this is what I wanted to get at today. I want to do a special here on my blog or whatever, taking a look at the Space Bucket Lunar Module, or Lunar Lander. And I was actually up last night trying to ascertain whose design it was based on. If there really is or was an actual craft that looks like this thing. Nobody else has had this form that I'm aware of in space toy sets. It's unique to the Space Bucket's legacy. And I'm very interested in finding out what the design was based on, and if it is something that was conjured up in China or Hong Kong, more likely, by designers, and when it originated. And that's sort of the mystery about the form here. And I think the Lunar Lander, it could be one of the keys. Nobody else had this, okay? I know that I destroyed one in my childhood. I had a Space Bucket. So it actually came in a bucket with a handle, which is why we call it the Space Buckets. But I destroyed one of these when I was a kid. I remember it breaking my heart because it's such a cool form. So that means that it had to have existed since, 1972, 1973. 1972, I would have been 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, 1971 through 1974. After 1973, it was really all G.I. Joe. So I would have had to have gotten it before then. And it's a unique form. Amongst other things, there's no ladder. I've always wondered, how do the guys get up and down onto this thing? Marx Toys is commonly attributed with having made it. My example here was probably formed. This is not my original. I mean, I destroyed mine when I was a kid. This is from a used set that I found. Pardon me while I lift the top off. Comes in two sections. Later versions have a decal on there to make it look all computer and techy. But there's no door. There's no way for the guys to get in and out. Put that thruster back in place. Whatever. I want to just have it stop the video. There's no ladder. There's no way for the guys to get in and out. And almost suggesting a robotic function. And like I said, I sat up last night going through Google for a couple of hours looking at early lunar lander designs, and there were a couple that sort of have this look. I can't remember who they were by right now. I'll do a more detailed video after I have my blog together. Hang on, this is just pissing me off. I'll do a more detailed video which includes that kind of background because it's unique. Nobody else has done this. Okay, Hing, the company commonly attributed to making the space bucket sets, they didn't exist as the company we know it now until 1980, which meant that it wasn't a Hing set that I had, but it was a space bucket set. And where did the forms originate? Is this something that was made in China? Was it invented from whole cloth? Is it derived from a previously existing lunar lander form that didn't cut mustard? Because amongst the other things, other reasons, there's no door and there's no ladder and there's no way for the guys to get in and out. Here's a... Let this dude out. I got my used set came with these white cast guys, which you don't see. You see them in gray a lot. You don't see them in white too much. Just has the word China there on the bottom. But he's sort of like even too big for it, you know? And there's no accommodation in there for the pilot figure. I think I can remember putting a couple inside when I was a kid, and you know, oh, here we go. But it just always bugged me that there was no door. There's no way for them to get in and out. And again, as an adult, I'm wondering, is it based on a robotic form? I don't think so. I think it was based on a lunar lander test version, and I may have found a picture that matches, although it had more fixtures coming off of the sides here that may simply have been simplified. The form was simplified for the plastic molding process to make it as cheap as possible. That's one of the things about space buckets, is that they always went for less than $10. You had your 64-piece set, or however many pieces were in it. Cheap, inexpensive plastic space toys that anyone could have, and not a Yonezawa rocket with tin-plated mechanical working parts from Japan that even then would have gone for $29.95 and is now going for $500. You can still get your space bucket set brand new for $11.99. And someone actually posed the very legitimate question to me: what's the point of trying to find the provenance on a vintage toy set that's still being made now? In other words, one of these that was made in 1973 is likely worth exactly as much as one that's just coming out of the plant there in China right now. Although to me that's missing the point. I want an original form, just to have it, just to know I got my space bucket set back, and which astronauts came with it. Was it these guys? Was it the multicolored NPC dudes? I know I had the multicolored NPC dudes when I was a kid. Remember them annoying the hell out of me. Pretty sure I had an orange set. I know I had red guys. Probably some white ones too. But did I have these guys as well? I can't remember, because I was 4 to 6 by 8 years old, which would have been 1975. This thing was in a scrap heap. I remember hanging on to it for a while with a nasty crack, and finally it just got pitched. Decision other than mine was made to do it, and I was when I first saw the thing listed online as a used item while doing my preliminary acquisitions, I freaked out because I'm like, that's what I had. So that's what the whole fuss is all about, and we're going to enjoy doing a Space Buckets blog here on Space Bucket Sunday and try to get to the bottom of the mystery. For everyone, to just know, hey, that's when they were made.